will be via Quaba strong, so at the POG Media. So let's show me the answer. After you know about the media series, but like you share and subscribe to the channel. Send a new political trending news via a quote you call maybe a happy POG Media. And I want to able to me, I can obviously for and your call political highway, and I assembly bring me as one party in some be in some be and say Mahama. And a new Minister of Trade, Elizabeth Ofisu Ajare, and on in collaboration with salvage cars, accidental cars, Akuffo, a pre-abortion at the Bagana, or mobile band, and only become no mashe, a year Kantaka, no mashe, a mazin bonus suma, no mamma, the vim and the vim because Mr. Omopania Germany, this kind of a minor knows if you believe myself, and no one to say a born the Senate, a Ghana for bit me as by free of honor. It's kind of epic on my abonting for a Mahama way did not be able to come so we remember or mobile banner and check. Let's some money upon your with the horse's own mouth.
In March 2020, Parliament passed a law prohibiting the importation of salvage vehicles into Ghana. The intention behind this was to provide incentive for automotive manufacturers and assemblers registered under the Ghana Manufacturing Development Program. However, artisans and importers contend that the law serves as disincentive to their businesses. During the 2024 campaign season, then candidate John Mahama pledged to reverse this law. In line with the proposed amendment, the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry is consulting with stakeholders regarding the issue. Sector Minister Elizabeth Ofisu Ajare informed artisans and importers of government commitment to supporting their growth.
Excellency John Dramani Mahama promised that within 120 days of assumption of office, he will start. But I'm very sure that we are even finishing within the 120 days. And so this is good. They've asked a couple of things. I'm going to discuss all these with Excellency John Dramani Mahama to see how best we can position Kumasi Swami Magazine to discharge their mandate. This is a unique place. This is a one-stop shop for automobiles. I think that as a country, we need to pay attention to Kumasi Swami Magazine and exactly what Excellency John Dramani Mahama has asked me to do.
The leaders of the artisans and importers welcome the initiative, although they raise some important concerns.
We are happy for them to do it, but we don't want another way around when after reverse the law and that they try to inflate the duty of the car so that when you bring it there, you have another penalty or something on it so that you can bring it out.
And there's one other thing that we didn't get the opportunity to ask is the stability of our local currency. It has been the cause of all the recent inflation in this country. So we would like to remind the government that they must sit down and make conscious effort to make sure that the city is stabilized.
Mahama, Oba Probono, Oba Magazine, any of the country.
We thank the President for taking steps to fulfill his promise regarding the importation of salvage vehicles. The ministry believes that with adequate support, the Swami Magazine enclave will significantly contribute to Ghana's economic growth.
Discussing. Things are changing so fast in the forest, and so I want to ask you, what is the current situation in the forest reserves you've visited within the last few weeks?
Thank you very much. Let me say that my team, which comprises of a number of stringers across these forest areas, my team in Kumasi, newsroom, and other parts, will be monitoring what is happening in forest across the country. Sometimes we get volunteers who serve us with drone footages and a number of ground footage as well. Currently, when areas that have been penetrated by illegal miners, and I say illegal miners advisedly, because so far all the invasions in all the forest reserves are illegal.
Of course, yeah.
We know of the people who have applied legally to mine sustainably in this forest. Some of them have been have their licenses delayed for 4 years, 5 years, whilst illegal miners are allowed to invade the forest and mine illegally. We have GSBAs, that's globally biodiversity significant areas that are supposed to be protected forests. Bointano is one such forest that has been invaded. As we speak, the Chinese miners and their Ghanaian collaborators are still there. We have Kano Nimre, Ohiam Penika, that Kano section. We've been monitoring for about close to 3 weeks now. The Chinese miners are still there. Some parts of Tanzania, initially we have 5 groups that invaded the forest. So far, government has been able, through the Forestry Commission and soldiers, been able to drive away 3 of those groups. 2, as at my last check, were still mining within those reserves. That's the Tanzania, certain sections of it. I learned they drove them from compartment 17 and compartment 20 and 21. The other compartments, we still have invasion in there. Now let's talk about the Jimiri forest enclave,
right,
which is close to Nkarie, and precisely that Nkarie, close to the Nkarie district. Now, when I drew the attention, I posted it on my Facebook page. We had soldiers going there, but the nature of which they went in there, 50 excavators, they could not even arrest a single one. All of them have been tracked out within the past 2 days, deposited in certain sections of the area. And at the appropriate time, I'll give you where they have been parked and all that.
50 excavators,
I don't know whether they are waiting for tension to go down, so they come back to mine. There are other forest reserves. If your time will permit me, I could tell you.
Yeah, we're interested. We really want to understand the situation in these forest reserves.
So those are one. We have the Offing Shelter Belt forest reserve. Now, I must say that when we drew the attention of government, we blew the whistle. Government sent in soldiers in there to drive them away. The devastation alone, after they have been allowed to mine for weeks, is unimaginable. Apamprama Forest Reserve, already 50% of it is gone. There are still remnants of people who are mining on the fringes of it. And part of it is being reclaimed. And there is a danger that even the reclaimed point, there are people who have attempted to even go into the reclaimed points and destroy it. Let's talk about Asenanyo Forest Reserve. Already, the place was mined and reclaimed. Now it has been given legally to another mining company, and the place has been destroyed again. So if you look at the kind of invasions that are going on, how swift they are being taken over. And these are illegal miners who are claiming that they have power. Because if you do not have power, Carlos, it will be difficult for you to send one excavator through the forest and enter and even think of mining it.
Right.
Unless you have influential people backing you that are able to call off the forest guards, the rapid response team, tie their hands behind them, and send your equipment in there to mine illegally. And I must say that in the previous administration, this was what happened. And we threw the light on it. We campaigned, we fished out, we put the information out there. We had members of this current administration joining us at that time, demanding a state of emergency. How then does power change and these same people have taken over and they say we should keep quiet now because it's their turn and they have to mine illegally? Why can't we just follow the rules? If we all believe that the laws that we pass as a country, there's a reason behind it, that these are forest reserves, these are biodiversity areas, and that is why some of them are protected, some of them are production forests, and vice versa. Why don't we go by the books? If you want to mine, go for a license, go to the
POG Media. You true offense to me media. Near the Kakrabi and the two Ghanaians are twice and for Mahama and Minister of Trade Elizabeth Ofuzu Ajare and Oma phone collaboration. Omo Bande Cas Naya Accidental House and no Mashama Mazin for me Ayo Munjuma, Ashes of Kantaka, Ashanating, Edit Group, said by on to my degree, after the family. No, but my say is kind of a my name about for yes, so Mimram, ever caught him a more and twice.
Right process. Equip the various agencies to monitor your work in the forest reserve and mine responsibly. Right. Why do we want to go behind it?
So
now, let me say this.
Okay.
That why is it always that whenever we as a team are able to point this thing out weeks after they have gotten into the forest and they have started mining? What happened to all the agencies that are monitoring and protecting our forests, charged with the protection of forests? What happened to the EPA? If our team can monitor and pinpoint from afar these infractions, what is the EPA, the Minerals Commission, the Forestry Commission, who have been tasked with resources and personnel, not able to detect when the invasion starts? When the excavators start marching into the forest and wait until some of us point it out, then there's a firefighting approach. So we go in and intentionally, as if we are fighting it, we allow people to cut their excavators out, wait for some time, they get back in and continue with the destruction.
Right. So Erastus, you are telling us this evening that the situation has not changed from what we were seeing or we used to see under the erstwhile Akuffo administration. Now that John Dramani Mahama is in office, things have not improved?
If things have improved, these are pictures I'm posting on a daily basis for you to see. If things have improved, you will see it.
Right. Okay.
In fact, these are just the forest reserves we're talking about. Go to Japan, Wasa Japan. The people themselves told the team that the minister sent that they are mining illegally. They told us in front of cameras that what we are doing here is illegal, we know, but we have to do it. Okay. And they are mining in the town, close to the main road, and nobody cares. Go to Odumase, Konongo, Odumase, where the recent explosion happened. If that explosion had occurred in the Zongo area, a lot of houses would have come down because people have dug deep beneath houses, and they are still digging.
All right. Erastus, hold on for me. Let me bring in Ken Ashigbe. You, somewhere last week, you met the minister over these same issues. Have you been able to identify a clear path forward on this matter?
Well, thank you very much. And thanks to the work of Erastus. And before I go on to answer your question, I think it is important that all of us realize that people are beginning to threaten Erastus's life again. And for us, the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, tomorrow, we'll be making a formal complaint to the IGP to ensure that they provide the necessary protection for Erastus. And we also want to serve warning to these faceless criminals who are engaging in the ecocide and genocide of our people, that they cannot touch us. We would use all the forces of the state,
right,
including marshalling all the media, the powers that we have in the media, to ensure that we expose them. And their threats are not the ones that are going to stop us. And our resolve is resolute. We are definitely going to come after them. So we had a meeting with the Minister for Land and Natural Resources. It was a very good first meeting. So there's some work that is being done. He spent a lot of the time doing a lot of stakeholder engagement, and then also working in some of these forests. And Erastus has mentioned the fact that, some of the places there has been some responses.
Yeah.
So out of the nine forest reserves that are gone, I think they've managed to claim back 4. And some work is happening. But we stated to him that if you look at the gravity of the challenges that confront us, what got to a head in August last year and, continued all the way till the elections, and now, and he would admit himself that the people are still in the reserves and on the water bodies.
Right.
They are still mining. So, and he's also had his committee that has done some engagement, and because of the urgency with which he wants to tackle it, he's asked them to give him an interim report that he can start some work on. So some work is happening, but unfortunately, the criminals are still at work, and they are still at what they're doing. So the criminal transition that we saw in 2016 and 2017 has happened again. So what you are beginning to see happen is that this time, not only is the NDC criminals taking over from the MPP criminals, you are having even the MPP criminals go to the NDC criminals and say, yes, your party is in power, but I have the equipment, I have people here already. Come and be at the front of it. Take 60%, we would hide behind you with 40%. Right. So that these gangs, these people who are wrecking our country are still at work.
Okay.
And we told the minister that the challenge he has to deal with are the politically exposed people who are involved in this. But one of the things I can tell you, walking off that meeting, is that we have a minister who really wants to fight this. The only interesting thing is that he will not tell you that, but he is being fought by people close within his party, and even from not only his party, the MPP as well. The political class are steeped in the middle of this. There is also the Chinese element.
All right.
The Chinese elements are heavy in this, guided by some local people who are involved in it. And not only do we have a major ecocide and genocide, which is destroying our environment, destroying our waters, but we are breeding a deadly national security threat. Now you have a situation where these people have recruited heavily armed men who are armed with very sophisticated weapons and ammunition. And not only are they local, but you have a lot of foreigners, a lot of the people from our neighboring countries who are now the people providing the security. And the danger about that, you need to just go back and look at what happened in Liberia, happened in Sierra Leone, and happened in even the Boko Haram. So you get these people, and now they are providing you security, and you are paying them out of the gold that has now crossed the 5,000 mark. And so there's a lot of money in it.
All right.
What would happen is that they will now start to see that, why don't we ourselves get involved in this? And if you have a situation where 9 of your forest reserve, 9 of the territories of Ghana has been taken over, we all don't want to call it now. So beyond the Galamsey, there's war that is being waged within our territory. So I believe that beyond all the things that the minister is doing, and I think we also need to state that he's working with the Minister for Environment to be able to get the LI repealed. But beyond all of that, we need to reclaim our lands. We need to reclaim our forests. So the state of emergency, which I don't think he agrees with, has to be imposed.
The state of emergency is one of the things that will actually help us, overcome this crisis.
Yeah, completely. Just look at the pictures.
Political news, trending news, POG Media, and I was a bit macan. You don't be a white brahe, for you don't be a unsubscribe, subscribe to the channel, and send me a political trending news, be a coach, you call them, and POG Media, and I was a bit macan, for you don't be a macram.